What if events had unfolded differently in the MCU? What if Omni-Man was in Avengers Infinity War? Imagine if there was a crossover with the MCU timeline and Invincible. What do you think would happen in this crazy mega crossover? Now, after years of speculation and years of requests, I'm finally making this what if happen. Now, I do want to say thank you so much for the latest support on the channel, everybody. It really means a lot to me. And in today's video, I'm very excited to, dive into Omni-Man. This is the first ever Invincible MCU crossover, so I'm very excited to finally have this out for you, my fellow watchers. But that being said, I do want to say, if you are enjoying the what if content on the channel, I would highly recommend that you check out the Patreon, as it's starting at just $1 a month, and it really goes a long way. You can get a lot of behind the scenes content, you can get a lot of upcoming stuff that's going to be coming out on the channel, such as Peter Parker, The Webs of Spider-Man, that brand new series. There's a lot of updates on the podcast, and also you can actually check out a lot of these different tiers that showcase, different things such as requesting your what ifs and even working with the team here at Miss the Part Productions. But that being said, my fellow watchers of the multiverse, let's dive in to what if Omni-Man was in Avengers Infinity War. The battle to acquire the 5 stones had reached a critical juncture. Thanos the Mad Titan, in his pursuit of power, to extract his plan of eradicating half of the universe's population. Should he succeed, the universe would descend into chaos, disrupting the once fear-vent and harmonious existence of life. In an attempt to restore balance between population and resources, Thanos intended to shatter the very fabric of the cosmic life, built upon mutual love and harmony. Tony Stark, the mastermind behind the Avengers, devised a strategy to relocate to Titan, the home world of Thanos. This decision was driven by the desire to confront Thanos on his own turf, preventing him from potentially coming to Earth after acquiring the Time Stone. Stark and the Avengers prepared for the ultimate showdown, an Earth-battling fight to the finish, knowing that the fate of the universe hung in the balance. Prior to the events described, Thanos had already amassed 3 Infinity Stones: the Power Stone, Orb; the Space Stone, Tesseract; and the 3rd Infinity Stone, known as the Soul Stone, which he acquired by sacrificing Gamora and casting her life from a high cliff. Now Thanos was determined to obtain the 4th Infinity Stone, the Time Stone, currently in the possession of Doctor Strange. The Avengers were strategically transported to Titan as planned. Upon their arrival, Thanos was keen, detected the presence of the Time Stone worn by Doctor Strange. Confronted by Thanos, Doctor Strange believed that their best course of action was to retreat in order to safeguard the Time Stone. However, Tony Stark disagreed, advocating for a different approach. He insisted that they should take the fight directly to Thanos, instead of resorting to a retreat, as they had done in the past. Stark, Parker, and Strange, joined by Peter Quill, Drax, and Mantis, engaged in a fierce battle against Thanos, with a darling plan to wrestle the gauntlet from his grasp and reclaim his immense power. During the confrontation, Mantis skillfully managed to subdue Thanos, temporarily, while Peter and Tony attempted to remove the gauntlet from his arm. The plan seemed to be progressing well until Quill and Nebula, who had arrived on Titan during the midst of the battle, deduced that Gamora had fallen victim to Thanos' own hand. Overwhelmed with fury and grief, Quill unleashed his rage upon Thanos, disrupting the group's collective effort to restrain him. In that moment, Thanos capitalized on the opening, regaining control of the gauntlet and ultimately overcoming the valiant group in combat. At this point, Thanos had taken control of the situation, and he issued a dire ultimatum to Stark, threatening to end his life unless Strange surrendered the Time Stone. Reluctantly, Strange complied, knowing that they had reached a critical juncture, often referred to as the endgame. Just as Thanos was about to integrate the Time Stone into his gauntlet, an unexpected turn of events unfolded. Out of nowhere, an object with astonishing speed struck Thanos, causing him to lose his balance and drop the Time Stone. The stone fell to the ground, and as Thanos attempted to retrieve it, the mysterious object continued to move with unparalleled velocity, seemingly snatching the Time Stone from the ground before gracefully positioning itself amidst all of them. Every member present, including Stark, Strange, both Peters, and the other Avengers along with Thanos, turned their attention to the unexpected newcomer. The astonishing speed and agility displayed by the uninvited individual evoked memories of Quicksilver, but it soon became evident that this was someone entirely different. Standing before them was a middle-aged man, excluding strength, his hair a distinguished shade of gray, and irradiating the aurora of a seamed leader. He donned a striking supersuit in shades of red and gray. In utter disbelief, Stark inquired, "Who is he?" Strange responded with a shake of his head. Tony turned to Peter Quill and asked if the newcomer was with him, to which Quill also shook his head. The Avengers exchanged questioning glances among themselves. Strange offered a possible explanation, suggesting that he might be a misplaced superhero from a parallel reality. As Thanos regained his footing, he spoke up, recognizing the stranger. "I believe I know him. We both belong to the same generation, lost in space of thousands of years, destined to fulfill our own paths." A once supervillain now transformed into a superhero. His name is Nolan Grayson, also known as Omni-Man. Welcome to hell, Omni-Man. The Avengers were taken aback, stunned by the situation, while Omni-Man remained composed and collected. Strange sensed a familiarity with the name, Omni-Man, but he couldn't quite place it. Omni-Man menacingly approached Strange, promoting Iron Man to intervene. With his repulsors aimed at Omni-Man, Iron Man warned him to halt. Spider-Man tried to restrain Omni-Man with his web shooters, but they proved ineffective as he effortlessly broke free. Iron Man then unleashed his chest-mounted unibeam blasts, as they had no effect on Omni-Man, who continued advancing towards Strange. Just as tension escalated, and it seemed as a clash was imminent, Omni-Man surprisingly handed the Time Stone back to Strange, urging him to safeguard it. Witnessing his gesture, all the Avengers chose to lower their weapons, trusting that Nolan Grayson no longer posed a threat. Nolan Grayson turned his gaze towards Thanos and spoke to him as his son, emphasizing his age, which spanned millennia longer than Thanos. He joined the battle to remind everyone that he is both the father of superheroes and supervillains alike. In response, Thanos acknowledged Omni-Man's challenge and vowed to return, better prepared for their next encounter, before using his powers to teleport to an unknown location. Spider-Man extended his hand to Omni-Man, apologizing for firing his web shooters at him earlier. He expressed his admiration for the books Omni-Man had written. Tony Stark inquired about Omni-Man's surprise entry into the fight, expressing gratitude for his assistance in saving the Time Stone. In return, Nolan Grayson thanked Stark for welcoming him with the Palm Gauntlet repulsor attacks. Omni-Man then shared his reasoning for intervening, vowing not to allow anyone to eliminate half of Earth's population, much like a virus had done to his naive planet, Voltrum, Thousands of years ago, he stood resolute in his mission to protect the planet and its people. Peter Quill proposed that they should extend an invitation to Omni-Man, welcoming him into the Avengers' team, and seek his assistance in defeating the Mad Titan. Curious about what Omni-Man's arrival on the distant planet Titan from Earth, Doctor Strange inquired about the methods that he used. Nolan explained that he could travel through interstellar space, using his body's supersonic speed, leaving everyone astonished at the feat. Doctor Strange offered to use the mystic arts to teleport Omni-Man to any destination, if needed in the future. Nebula warned them to leave Titan immediately, before the Mad Titan could track them down once more. With a plan in mind, Doctor Strange conjured a portal to transport them back to Earth, ensuring their swift departure from Titan. The Avengers gathered in the iconic office of the Avengers compound. Meanwhile, Nolan Grayson had returned to his family to celebrate his son Mark Grayson and daughter-in-law Oliver Grayson's wedding anniversary. He wanted to attend the party and be with his children and grandchild. Tony Stark requested Friday to provide him with all the details about Omni-Man, also known as Nolan Grayson. He still had reservations about the idea that Omni-Man had come from interstellar distances to aid them in saving the world. On the other hand, Strange and the other Avengers believed that Omni-Man had indeed helped them in safeguarding the Time Stone and preventing the universe from falling into a catastrophic disaster. They saw his actions as noble and heroic. However, Tony Stark remained unconvinced. He argued that Omni-Man was once a villain with countless dark chapters in his life, some of which were still unknown to them. Relying on someone with such a complex history did not seem like a wise decision to him. Stark was cautious and uncertain about putting their trust in Omni-Man completely. Friday's voice echoed in the office, stating the fact about Omni-Man. Nolan Grayson, also known as Omni-Man, was a prominent member in the Invincible universe. He hailed from the alien planet Veltrum, and later became the father of another superhero, Mark Grayson, Invincible. Initially, he was a nasty man. He shocked the world by slaughtering the Guardians of the Globe. However, he later underwent redemption, driven by his love for his family and his desire to protect Earth from the Veltrum Empire's tyranny. Nolan's life began on Veltrum, where he was born as the son of Argyle, the esteemed leader of the Veltrumists. A devastating virus began to ravage the Veltrumist population, prompting the Empire to devise a plan. They decided to exploit their declarated aging and infiltrate a society, intending to weaken its resistance for a further takeover. Nolan willingly took on this covert mission and journeyed to Earth. During his time on Earth, Nolan encountered a woman named Debbie, and their connection blossomed into a romantic relationship. Eventually they married, and together they had a son named Mark Grayson. Nolan assumed the mantle of Omni-Man, becoming Earth's newest hero and most powerful superhero. He joined forces with the Guardians of the Globe, forming a crucial alliance to protect Earth from various threats. In a taunting tone, Tony Stark embarked on Omni-Man's infamous past, highlighting how he had destroyed his own superhero team, the Guardians of the Globe, in his previous universe. He sarcastically suggested that Omni-Man was now on another mission, possibly targeting the Guardians of the Galaxy. This time, Stark questioned how they could trust someone who had mercilessly slaughtered his own team. In response, Peter Quill called out Tony Stark, questioning the intense animosity he harbored towards Nolan Grayson. Quill suggested that Tony Stark's hostility might stem from feeling threatened by Nolan's leadership qualities, fearing that he could potentially challenge Stark's dominance over the Avengers. This criticism sparked anger in Stark, and he attempted to strike Quill with his iron punch, but Doctor Strange interfered in the nick of time, using his shield to block Stark's attack and preventing any more further confrontation. Nebula shared a legendary tale from her home planet, Lumholm, about the king of the Vrunchram Empire, who single-handedly defeated Thetis' vast army with brilliant strategy. This military commander was Argo, Nolan Grayson's father. Nebula speculated that if Nolan truly inherited his father's thinking, he could be a valuable asset in their mission to save Earth and the universe. Iron Man refused to be a part of any campaign launched under the leadership of Nolan Grace. All team members tried to convince him to let Nolan be a part of the team, but he made it clear to everyone that he totally opposed seeking any assistance from Omni-Man due to his bitter past. Stark then departed from the gathering, leaving the discussion behind. Doctor Strange proposed that they should seek the help of Bruce Banner, Hulk, before they strategized their plan further. The Avengers assembled in Wakanda to meet with Bruce Banner, who was now encased in a Hulkbuster suit due to the fact that Hulk had lost the battle against Thanos on the Asgardian ship. The team had mixed feelings about Banner's new approach, believing it stemmed from fear after the intense defeat they faced during their first encounter with the Mad Titan. Doctor Strange explained the situation to Bruce Banner, emphasizing the significance of Omni-Man's arrival in their universe. Banner, displaying a clear and logical mindset, acknowledged that if they needed assistance in defeating Thanos and his army, they have to be open to seeking that help. However, he also requested that he be the first to meet Nolan, waiting to access the situation before involving the entire team. As Thanos relentlessly pursued the Infinity Stones, growing stronger with each acquisition, his sights were now set on the Vision. Determined to obtain the Mind Stone embedded in his forehead, Scarlet Witch engaged in a thoughtful discussion with Vision. Realizing the gravity of the situation, in a darling decision, they concluded that the only way to prevent Thanos from seizing the stone was to destroy them. Scarlet Witch tried utilizing her magical powers and chaos magic to extract the Mind Stone from Vision's forehead. Yet their moment was short-lived. In an unexpected twist, the Mad Titan appeared before them. He ended up taking the Vision's head and ripped the stone out of his forehead. He took the Mind Stone. Before they could react, Thanos swiftly picked up the Mind Stone and teleported himself to an unknown destination. Hulk reached the residence of Nolan Grayson, who greeted him with love and affection, telling him that he was a great fan of him. The granddaughters of Nolan also gathered around Hulk and took his autograph. His wife made snacks for Bruce, and he felt comfortable, like he was at home. Curious and eager to hear Omni-Man's strategy for confronting Thanos, Bruce Banner initiated a conversation with him. As Omni-Man laid out a brilliant plan, Banner was impressed by his intelligence and effectiveness. Convinced of its potential, Banner pledged to present this plan to the other members of the Avengers team to further the discussion and consideration. Taking the floor, Banner addressed all the Avengers with a particular emphasis on Tony Stark. He appealed to the team to give Nolan Grayson a chance, recognizing the value of his experience and insights. Stark, with little choice but to trust his best friend's judgment, agreed to follow Banner's lead. Omni-Man revealed his intriguing plan to assemble the Avengers, sharing critical information about a powerful stone called the Slayer Stone. This stone possessed the unique ability to nullify the powers of all the other stones, making it a crucial asset in their battle against Thanos. Omni-Man's strategy was straightforward yet darling. The Avengers would work as a unit front, enticing Thanos to Earth, far away from his home planet, Titan. While the Avengers acted as a decoy, Omni-Man would travel to Titan to locate the Slayer Stone. Once retrieved, he would return to Earth. When the Slayer Stone neared the other stones, their powers would be temporarily neutralized. Seizing this moment, the Avengers would take on Thanos in their quest to overpower him. Though some lingering skepticism remained among the team, particularly from Tony Stark, Banner's endorsement garnered significant trust to proceed. As the Avengers united under the plans, they prepared themselves for a decisive and high-stakes confrontation with Thanos, all in hopes of safeguarding the fate of the universe. Omni-Man went interstellar to get more surveillance about the Titan Mountain and the Slayer Stone. Peter Quill was hopeless and unforgivable on the loss of Gamora. Nebula tried to calm him down, but he was in shock and could do anything to bring her back. Doctor Strange conveyed a disheartening truth to Peter Quill. Anyone sacrificed on the Red Skull's cliff did not actually perish, but instead had their soul imprisoned in the abyss until the end of time. To secure the release of such a prisoner, an alternative proposal involving the exchange of another soul was required. Filled with desperation and love for Gamora, Peter Quill implored Doctor Strange to find a way to bring her back to life. While Doctor Strange sympathized with Peter, he regretfully admitted that he had no viable alternative to offer in exchange for Gamora's soul. Despite the apparent impossibility of the task, Peter Quill remained resolute and determined to save Gamora. He assured Doctor Strange that he would find a substitute soul to take her place, and together they journeyed to Nowhere, a place known for its underworld dealings. There, Peter Quill purchased the lives of 2 prisoners who had been sentenced to death and were awaiting execution. Although uneasy with the idea of such a drastic sacrifice, Doctor Strange recognized Peter's unwavering love and determination to rescue Gamora. Understanding the magnitude of Peter's emotions, Doctor Strange agreed to his plans, knowing that Peter would stop at nothing to save the woman he loved. Peter Quill already conveyed Red Skull for exchange of Gamora. As they approached the edge of the well-guarded abyss by Red Skull, he demanded to see what they had brought as a substitute for Gamora. In response, Doctor Strange used his magical abilities to present the shackled prisoners. Red Skull's face contorted with anger upon seeing the criminals, as he declared that no sinful soul could be offered as a sacrifice to redeem the loved one who was lost. Red Skull accused Peter Quill of foolishness, and he summoned his soldiers to apprehend both Quill and Strange. In a moment of defiance, Peter Quill managed to overpower 2 of Red Skull's soldiers on Vormir, and with a determined gaze, he hurled them into the depths of the abyss, saying that Red Skull had likely recruited the good souls in his guards. Before Red Skull could launch an attack, Doctor Strange utilized his mystical powers to restrain him and rendering him immobile. Seizing the opportunity, Peter Quill boldly confronted the abyss, demanding the return of Gamora in exchange for the lives of 2 innocent souls that they had brought. To their astonishment, Gamora emerged from the depths, and in a moment of overwhelming joy, Peter embraced her tightly, expressing his love with a passionate kiss. With their mission accomplished, Doctor Strange bid farewell to Red Skull. Leaving him unrestrained, in an act of retribution, they left 2 prisoners in place of their guards they had thrown into the abyss. Stepping through the portal, they departed, leaving Red Skull and the criminals behind in a stunned disbelief. Following the crafted plan, Doctor Strange and Peter Quill materialized on a remote, uninhabitable island, where the rest of the Avengers had already assembled. The sight of Gamora's return filled Nebula and Mantis with joy, as they gathered around her, warmly welcoming her back. Determined and resolute, Gamora expressed her unwavering commitment to personally ending Thanos' life. As the anxiety awaited Thanos' arrival, Scarlet Witch delightedly tracked Omni-Man's movements and observed him engaging in suspicious activities on his home planet. Noticing him transporting a seizable vessel through space, Scarlet Witch initiated communication with Omni-Man, seeking answers about his actions. In response, Omni-Man disclosed his true intentions, which he had concealed from the rest of the Avengers. He revealed that his actual plan was to eradicate Thanos and his home planet, Titan, from existence. With this revelation, the Avengers found themselves at a crossroad, torn between potential ally that they had welcomed and the true nature of his mission. Omni-Man had obtained a deadly virus that had previously destroyed half of his home's population. Now he was transporting this lethal pathogen to the planet of Titan. Thanos had already inflicted a similar fate upon his own planet, wiping out half of its own inhabitants. Omni-Man's plan was to eradicate the remaining people on Titan, as there existed a hidden connection among them. By eliminating all living Titans, Thanos would suffer a profound weakening from within, and his power over the Infinity Stones would be destroyed. The ultimate objective was to exploit Thanos' emotional vulnerability and physical injuries resulting from the loss of his fellow Titans. With him in a weakened state, the Avengers aimed to neutralize him and reclaim his powerful gauntlet. This plan was their best chance at confronting Thanos and turning the tide in their favor, as they sought to avenge the countless lives lost to his ruthless quest for power. The proposition of slaughtering innocent civilians on Titan stirred up turmoil within the Avengers' team. Tony Stark's frustration with his fellow Avengers reached its peak, as he had been warning them about Omni-Man's unreliability from the beginning. Gamora and Nebula firmly stood against Omni-Man's plans, vowing to prevent the massacre of innocent lives on Titans. With tensions running high, the Avengers found themselves facing a daunting dual challenge, confronting both the Mad Titan and Omni-Man at once. To thwart Omni-Man's deadly scheme, a plan was made. Scarlet Witch, Thor, Nebula, and Gamora were tasked with traveling to Titans to halt Omni-Man's sinister agenda and to protect the innocent. Meanwhile, Iron Man, Hulk, Spider-Man, Captain America, and others took the formidable task of battling Thanos on Earth. With the plan set in motion, Doctor Strange expertly employed his teleportation abilities, transporting the two teams to their respective battlegrounds. Upon their arrival on the planet, the Avengers were confronted with a startling sight. Omni-Man had transformed into a swirling tornado, harnessing his incredible speed to spread the deadly virus across a vast area. In a desperate attempt to counter the devastation, Scarlet Witch utilized her chaos powers to manipulate the air currents and control the virus. Meanwhile, Thor wielded his mighty axe, summoning dark clouds and lightning to conjure heavy rain that would dampen the virus's impact. As Omni-Man executed his task, he paused before the Avengers to warn them against interfering with his mission. Despite Nebula and Gamora launching a coordinated attack from opposing directions, Omni-Man effortlessly evaded their blows. He urged them to temper their anger, explaining that he was carrying out these actions to save the entire universe. Omni-Man, once a formidable villain, had wrestled with his malevolent tendencies, making an effort to suppress his dark impulses. Now, Thanos presented him with an opportunity to unleash his sinister side and wreak havoc in the name of their mission. The Avengers found themselves facing not only external threats from Thanos and Omni-Man, but also grappling with the internal turmoil of trusting someone with a troubled past. Thanos made his presence known on the abandoned island where the Avengers had set their bait. Fully aware of their intentions, he executed overconfidence, believing that no Avenger could best him. As the Avengers launched their individual attacks on one another, Iron Man fired his repulsor blasts, while Hulk unleashed his strength in his iron suit, and Captain America wielded his iconic shield. The Avengers fought with determination, Yet Thanos couldn't help but notice that some of them were missing. Strange, Nebula, Peter Quill, Scarlet Witch, and the guest from another universe, Omni-Man. This raised his suspicion that he sensed an imminent trap. Meanwhile, as Thanos received signals from his home planet, Titan, he discovered a grim reality unfolding. His citizens were perishing, with half of the population already evaporated by his own hand, and the other half falling victim to a mysterious virus. Curiosity led him to investigate the origins of the virus, and it was revealed that it emanated from Voltrum, the native planet of Omni-Man. The ramifications of this revelation struck him deeply, as he realized that the demise of his own race would render all his achievements and dreams futile. In a fit of rage and distress, Thanos let out a howl of anger before vanishing from the island. Utilizing his abilities, he transported himself to Titan, where he would face a harrowing reality and grapple with the consequences of his actions. Thanos had wanted to save Titan, and he didn't want it destroyed in this reality. The situation had taken a profound turn, leaving Thanos to confront the catastrophic impact of his past decisions on his home planet. Utilizing his incredible speed, Omni-Man swiftly used the deadly virus throughout every corner of Titan, resulting in a catastrophic devastation. The once thriving planet now laid in ruins, its inhabitants grasping for air as they collapsed, with blood streaming from their eyes and noses. The Avengers and Omni-Man stood to witness the heartbreaking scene, overwhelmed with anguish and distress at the sight of such a widespread suffering and death. Thanos' people were killed. Amidst the chaos, Thanos arrived on the scene and was confronted with the grim reality of his citizens' agony and despair. Overcome with grief, he let out a heart-wrenching cry, and even the power generated by the Infinity Stones seemed to weaken in the face of such immense sorrow. As Omni-Man approached Thanos, the Mad Titan attempted to use his gauntlet to strike him down, but Omni-Man was unyielding. With a swift motion, he countered the attack, breaking Thanos' arm with the force of his powerful foot. With a tone of remorse in his voice, Omni-Man addressed Thanos, expressing his condolences for the loss of his people on Titan. He justified his actions, stating that he had no choice but to take extreme measures to protect his own people back on Earth. Omni-Man acknowledged Thanos' immense power, but emphasized that his own strength lay in his strategic thinking and unwavering commitment to his cause. To demonstrate his sincerity, Omni-Man removed the gauntlet from his arm and extracted all of the Infinity Stones. He handed over the precious stones to Doctor Strange, urging him to return them to their rightful owners, acknowledging the danger that they possessed if misused. As the confrontation escalated, Scarlet Witch drew closer to Thanos, her chaos magic dismantling his formidable armor with ease, her eyes filled with grief and anger for the loss of vision and the Mind Stone. She clenched her fists, causing Thanos' heart to be crushed and shattered. Her chilling words reverberated as she declared that the act was a retribution for Vision and the precious stones that had been taken from him. And that is going to end part 1 of What If Omni-Man was in Avengers Infinity War. Do you think that it could be fully over yet? Do you think that Wanda has killed Thanos on Titan? And I do want to say that in this universe, I wanted to make Thanos a little bit different, as every what if story I find needs to have something unique about it, and that's why it can't be the same, because I've done so many different Infinity War what ifs. I thought it would be interesting if Thanos actually still had his planet Titan and that it wasn't fully destroyed. I think that would be very interesting, and it really would change the Mad Titan's goals and maybe wanting to save his own planet as well, as it was destroyed in the original universe. And I thought it would be cool if the virus was actually on Titan and how that would affect Thanos if someone else had stepped in and, initially annihilated the planet completely. and I think Omni-Man was a perfect choice, a perfect candidate for, you know, such a cataclysmic event on the planet of Titan. So that is going to be it for this Marvel's What If and Invincible What If. I do hope that you enjoyed this crossover, and I do want to say thank you so much for tuning into today's video. If you guys do enjoy the content, do make sure to subscribe, like, share, as it really goes a long way to the channel. I would highly appreciate it, as we only have about 10% of people that view the channel that are actually subscribed. So it's kind of crazy that not a lot of people are subscribed on the channel, but if you guys do enjoy, I really try and make quality content here, and I do know that, you know, sometimes we have a little bit of hiccups, but I do want to say I really do try my hardest to make the content as good as possible. And I do want to put in here that do make sure to follow the Instagram, as the Instagram and the Twitter, or X now that they're calling it, has a lot of updates. You can see a lot more stuff, as well as the Patreon account. So that being said, my fellow watchers of the multiverse, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and have a fantastic day. Peace out.